All right, this is part 2. I'm starting with number 23. Okay, the rule we have is if you are multiplying the same base, you keep the base and you add the exponents. So this only works because the 4s are the same, but we have 3 halves plus 5 halves. You need a common denominator. We have it, so we have 4 to the 8 halves. 8 over 2 is just 4. So we have really 4 to the 4th, which is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which is 16 times 16, which is 256. All right, couple ways to do this. I'm going to work on the inside first. Okay, the property we have says you keep the base and you subtract the exponents. So we just have to subtract 5/3 minus 5/6. Okay, don't worry about the 9/5 yet. All right, we need a common denominator, so I'm going to rewrite 5/3 as 10/6. If we do this, we have 16 to the 10 minus 5 over 6. Now I'm going to raise this all to the 9/5. When you do power to a power, you're going to multiply these. So I have 16 to the 5 over 6 times 9 over 5. You just multiply right across the top and bottom, so you get 45 over 30. But I'm going to actually reduce this because I have a 5 on top and a 5 on the bottom. And then also 9/6 is really the same as 3 over 2. So I'm left with 16 to the 3 halves. You could have just done 45 over 30 and then simplified that, but that's where I'm at. Now I want to keep going with this because 16 to the 3 halves is really the square root of 16 cubed. I can take the square root of 16 as just 4, and then I'm going to cube that. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. All right, simplify this radical. Pull out groups of 2. 16 is really 4 times 4, which is 2, 2, 2, 2. There's a group, so 2 times 2 is 4. Or you're just like, Mr. Miller, the square root of 16 is 4. We get it, okay? Now, I have 3 x's. I can also pull out one group of x's. And if I do that, I still have one x inside. So that's my answer. All right, rationalize the denominator. We need to multiply by the cube root of something. And our goal here is to create groups of 3 in the denominator. So I have 1 3. I need 2 more 3's. 3 times 3. If we do this, we multiply across the top. So we have 3 times the cube root of 3 times 3 is 9. On the bottom, I have the cube root. I'm going to just squish these both inside the same thing. 3, 3, 3. All right. On the denominator, we're looking for groups of 3 of a kind. I have 3, right? So the cube root of 3 to the 3rd is just 3. So at this point, you're like, I'm done. No, 3 divided by 3 is just 1. So I'm left with just the cube root of 9 as my answer. Okay, we want to simplify first, right? It has a little hint, simplify this radical. So I'm going to pull out groups of 4 from 32x to the 8th, y to the 3rd. All right, groups of 4 and 32, we need to break into prime factors to see what there might be. So I have 2, 2, 2, and then 4 is 2, 2. So I have a group of 4 2's and then 1 left inside. So I can bring out 1, 2, but I have 1, 2 left inside. This 2 is not part of a group of 4, so he has to stay inside. Okay, x to the 8th, I can bring out 2 groups of x's, and then they're all outside. Y to the 3rd, I can't bring any groups out because I need groups of 4, so I'm going to leave that inside. All right, so that's step 1. Now I'm left with x over 2x squared times the 4th root of 2 times y to the 3rd. All right, now we're going to rationalize. I'm going to multiply by something on the top and the bottom. Again, we want groups of 4. I have 1, 2. I need 3 more 2's. 2, 2, 2. I'm going to do the same thing on top. 2, 2, 2. I have 3 y's. I need 1 more y. All right, on top I have x times the 4th root of 2 times 2 times 2 is 8y. On the bottom, I still have this 2x squared. And then when I multiply these two together, this here and this here, I'm going to get, let me do it over here. I would have the fourth root of 2222 y, which is just 2y. All right, I have 1x on the top, 2 on the bottom, so now I would just have basically 1 on the bottom. And then the last thing I could do is I have a 2 times a 2, which would be 4y. So that's my, oh, I still have an x, I apologize. I just crossed out the squared here, so I still have an x on the bottom. I'd have 4xy. There it is. All right, 28. It's easiest if you, first of all, split apart this square root of 4 and the square root of 3. So this is really 6 times the square root of 4 over the square root of 3. Now the square root of 4 we can simplify as just 2, and the square root of 3 on the bottom we need to now rationalize. I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. On top I just have 12 times the square root of 3, and on the bottom we would get the square root of 9, which is just 3. All right, last thing, 12 and 3 goes into 12 4 times, so my answer is just 4 times the square root of 3. Okay, this one here, it's easiest just to evaluate each one. 16 to the 1/2 is just the square root of 16 times the square root of 4 cubed times the cube root of 8 squared. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2, and we're going to cube that. Cube root of 8 is 2, and we're going to square that. So we have 4 times 8 times 4. 16 times 8 is 128. All right, this one here, anytime you have parentheses, raise both of those to that power. So we have 25 to the 3/2, x to the 4 times 3/2. So we get 25 to the 3/2, x to the 12 over 2, which is 6. And let's just figure out what this is. So this is really the square root of 25 cubed. Square root of 25 is 5 cubed. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, x to the 6th. All right, this we have basically the cube root of 3 over the cube root of y. And we're going to rationalize this denominator. We're going to multiply by the cube root of something. Now, I have 1 y. I need 2 more y's to create those groups of 3 of a kind. All right, on top, these are both inside the radical, so we can actually put those together as 3y squared. On the bottom, you have the cube root of y to the 3rd, which is just y, which is my answer. All right, so this one here is just asking what would we multiply by. You have to do the same on the top and the bottom, but I'm focusing just on the bottom. You need groups of 4. So if I have 1, 2, I need 3 more 2's. If I have 3 x's, I need 1 more x. If you have 2 y's, I need 2 more y's. So my answer is the 4th root of 8xy squared. So this one create groups of 4. All right, on to the third part.